Our foremost challenge that we need to deal with is proper and effective management of the country. Half of our challenges have nothing to do with money or budget. It is just simply just bad management. You know, there are so many actions that happen, and when we raise them, then people begin to raise other things and talk about other things. You know, if two Kenyans are arrested and they're in Uganda, and as government you say nothing, you do nothing. How it's supposed to, you know, it's called responsible government. Like what Kenya needs is responsible and responsive government. If people raise the issues every year and every other day about one or two things and so on, and then we don't address them, that is really where the challenge is. So my feeling is that one, we deal with responsible governance, be responsible and responsive people. No one is perfect. Many people in government can also make mistakes. We make mistakes. So if a mistake has been made, we come up and own up, step up and explain things in a manner that is respectful of the public. Not to behave as though the public is dumb, you know. You are a national leader, you go to a particular part of the country, you say the same things you have said for years. You know, last time you were here, the same list of promises. The other time you were here, the same list of promises. So what do you take those people to be? I mean, are they dumb? You know, and then after all, you end up by telling them it's because they don't have brains, you know, and so on. That is not responsive government. That's the first thing. Secondly, the challenges we have right now in the education sector, you know them. I am personally outraged, I have to be honest with you, that we have reduced capitation to a point where clearly it's not going to be affordable for people to go, for parents to keep their kids in school. That's why I said I've not looked at the statistics, and I'd like to sit down and look at the stats with the experts, especially the civil society actors in the education sector. We may have a dropout rates of between 25 and 30% in January. Because you see, first of all, you know, we are African families. We do not have we are not a one-child society. Now, these wonderful people around here, you know, if you have 2 or 3 kids, you're supposed to cough 9,000 per kid, 27,000. Where is that money going to come from? And you are in a depressed economy where you have challenges. You know, like for example, here in Kisii, the earnings from the T-boners, dairy farmers haven't been paid for 3 months and so on and so forth. So you can see clearly we're going to have a dropout, you know, from school. So it's to fix that, and how to fix it is to deal with wastage and mop up resources in the public sector that are actually going the wrong direction that could be used to do better. All this money that the government is bribing people around here, telling them to queue and bribing them around about empowerment and so on, all that is money that ought to go to critical sectors of the economy like education and so on. It isn't rocket science. You know, you can't bribe at the rate they are bribing and loot at the rate they are looting and still have money for capitation. So it's a question of making choices. You do the right thing and then serve the people of Kenya effectively. Thirdly, and among as many things I think about, look, this universal health care is what government strive to do. Whether that is going to come through reforms of the National Social Insurance Fund and the work we are doing in the World Bank in that trajectory, or it's going to come through a method, this sharp system, is a matter that needs to be debated. But clearly the approach the government has taken is not working. So it's time to step back and look at how best can we make that work. Because the objective of UHC is noble and it's good. That's what most governments in the South, including ours in Jubilee, had. But we had adopted a different method. The approach that the current administration has adopted doesn't work. And you see now, this is why you will not hear me in public spending time insulting people and engaging in condemnation. I would rather that we debate this issue. It is not working, and the evidence is abundant. And if it's not working, let us then fix it. Let's work on a way that can fix it and improve the livelihoods of our people. That's what we do. That's what we should do. And when it comes to fixing that problem, sio siasa eti ni huyu ama ni yule mwingine. Wakati mwingine na sisi pia kama wananchi, hata kama viongozi, tuangazie masuala ya watu wetu. You know, sio kila siku ni siasa. Tunabishana ndio, tuna maoni tofauti ndio, tuko kwa vyama mbalimbali ni sawa. Lakini ikifika kwa wakati wa maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya, kama serikali imechukua hatua na hiyo hatua haifanyi kazi, si tuzungumze tu ukweli and we be honest to each other and say this thing is not working, let's improve it. Lakini sio eti huyu akisema it's not working ni kwa sababu anatuchukia. Hakuna chuki hapa na hakuna siasa. It's everywhere you go. Nyinyi mnaishi na watu, mmepata wapi mahali watu wanawaambia sha is working? God bless you. By the way, tumezungumzia haya maneno kuhusu tume ya uchaguzi jana, na jambo ambalo mimi ningeweza kuzungumza ni kuhusu usalama wakati wa uchaguzi na yale ambayo yanafanyika katika Jamhuri ya Kenya. Sometimes it's good to start on a positive point. I am happy when the IBC took the decision on Kaspool and those candidates and vile waliamua to find them. At least they have taken action. It's action in the right direction. Because you see, at all times during elections, people need to understand that we must keep law and order. And I want to speak about this issue with some understandable passion, because I'm a former minister of security. I understand more than many what can go wrong in a country when you are not mindful about security and stability of the country. That is why you see I am very cautious and measured when I come to addressing security matters, because you cannot politicize security issues. Every one of us needs a stable country. Whether you are in the opposition or in government, you need a stable country. And second, also because I am privileged to have served in that particular department, I know many of the people who are there. I know many of our senior security officials, and I have a lot of confidence and faith in many of our senior security officers, because these are people I worked with and I know them, some of them at a fairly personal level. Yesterday I said when I was in a public meeting that, for example, Mr. Kanja, our Inspector General of Police, is someone I have known for a long time. He was my GSU commandant when I was the Minister for Interior. An excellent police officer, one of our best police officers. You remember, he's the one who led our responses in Dusi 2 and so on. He's a gentleman I've known for a very long time. All these people, I know them. I know at DCI, the people that I worked with. For a long time. Nurdin was with us in government, head of intelligence. There are people I know. So I am the last person to criticize or to unnecessarily disparage our security officers. Secondly, by dint of the service that I rendered, I understand how the security sector works very well. And because of that, I would like to exercise, as I said, necessary caution on this matter. You can wake up in the morning and start criticizing security officers and, bashing them and so on. They work under difficult circumstances. We are a country whose resources are not necessarily sufficient. We are building up on our capabilities and so on. But we are privileged and better than many in terms of the capacities we have. That said, however, I keep going back to this point, and I would like to speak about this very, very cautiously. When things go south, they begin from very small gaps and small violations, where, for example, public officers and so on begin operating as though the law does not apply to them. And then slowly, you discover that you are courting disaster. There's something I'd like to say today here, and then I think I'll take the lines of the fact that I'm now in political participation, so I can say it. Every time you talk to people in this country, the anger and pain down below is very, very, very deep. Very deep. People are very, very angry. The population is very angry, very frustrated. And with all these issues, including overtaxation, including some of the taxation measures that we have taken that are punitive, when you look at workers across the country are paying. The pay slip has been raided left, right, and center. So economic challenges are there for sure. Then add to that the unemployment issue. Then add to that, we have huge numbers of our young people are unemployed who are out there and so on. If we engage in rhetoric that could inflame passions, we could very easily drive this country into chaos. Very easily. Very, very easily. So that's why I've been making this point everywhere I go. We all have to respect the law. We all have to have a responsibility to keeping law and order. And the leaders in government need to know that is not for those in the opposition alone. It is for them too. Because the moment you start showing that level of discrimination that the law does not apply to others, you have begun the journey of courting disaster, and you have begun a downward spiral. So by-elections and an electoral action such as is going on in the country is that one moment when all of us have to be very careful. Now, that is not the job of the the politicians alone or the actors. IBC is critical in this matter. And then how IBC conducts itself and conducts the election is fundamental. So if IBC is going to look the other way around and allow voter bribery, blatant voter bribery that is going on by government, allow violence, such as we have seen, such as happened in Kabuchai, against George Natembeya, and so on, we are courting disaster. And when I heard yesterday that the police are saying that Natembeya stage managed that act, it's very shameful. I mean, I don't want to use negative terms, but it's very shameful to hear that kind of thing. I keep saying this every day, and all of you are smart people, guys. There's nobody in this world called opposition. All of us have names. And secondly, I've been a minister before. Government does not make allegations. Government acts. I can't make allegations as a cabinet minister or as a senior police officer. I can't say, I suspect she is organizing. No, I arrest you and take you before a competent court of law and say, my evidence is A, B, C, D. It's upon you to prove that I'm wrong. That's what you do. So you see, for things to happen, such as happen, if indeed the police or government are convinced that what happened in Kabuchai was a stage-managed affair, who has stopped them from arresting those who are involved in that stage-managed affair? Arrest them. And when you have them in court, you say, this is Mr. X. He's George Natembeya's friend. He's the one who bought the bullets. And these bullets are like this. Or this is Mr. Y. He was sent by George Natembeya, and this is what happened. Security officers cannot behave like politicians. That low level of accountability in our political practice, where you say things and get away with them, you engage in nonsense, and you wake up in the morning and go on. Security officers cannot behave like that. You commit a crime, none of us is above the law. They arrest you, they say this is the evidence we have, you go before a magistrate, prove yourself, prove innocent. No, that is the thing we are dealing with. So I'm asking that we pay serious attention to this issue of election violence, abuse of the law, voter bribery, moving goons and criminals from one area of jurisdiction to another area of jurisdiction, threatening citizens, trying to intimidate people against how they should vote, and so on and so forth. It's necessary, and these are not things I'm saying just because I'm not in government now. I've said them all along. I've held the same position all along, even when I was a minister. And I would say the same things if I was a minister today. Let's keep the law and let's respect the law equally.